Welcome to the second episode of the Beatles album songs ranked things series, I guess. This time we're doing With the Beatles, their second album, which is my second least favorite Beatles album. My least favorite Beatles album is one that comes on later on in their discography, but With the Beatles is my second least favorite. It's definitely the worst early Beatles album. Please Please Me and A Hard Day's Night are a lot better than it, and I'd even say that Beatles for Sale is marginally better than it. It just doesn't have the highlights that those albums do, and it's not as consistent either. But it's still a good album because it is the Beatles. And the worst song on it is actually one I was kind of disappointed to put in last place. It's Don't Bother Me. Because George Harrison might be my favorite Beatle. He's definitely the best songwriter. John Lennon is better musically, I think, and Paul McCartney is more versatile. But I really like George's voice and his songwriting, and he had a lot of really great songs in the Beatles era. Don't Bother Me isn't one of them, though. It's only okay. I don't really enjoy it at all, to be honest. Number 13 is Little Child. Commendable for its energy, definitely, and for making a fairly good use of its harmonica. But also it kind of sounds like a parody of a Beatles song. So that kind of drags my enjoyment down for it a bit. It's good, but it's kind of hard to take seriously. Number 12 is I Wanna Be Your Man. It's not as good as Boys from the previous album as a Ringo track. And that's mainly because of the lyrics. It has about as much lyrical variety as Love Me Do does. And also the Rolling Stones version of this song is a lot better. Number 11 is Roll Over Beethoven. It's a good cover. I don't have, that many problems with it. But it does kind of, ring of, we need more songs to fill out our album. Let's just put some other cover on here type of thing. Number 10 is Not a Second Time. It's good. It's not great, though. The melody is kind of... It starts out really well. But then, it kind of, starts getting underwhelming when it doesn't resolve in the way that you would expect it to. I think there's, a thing in this song called, the Aeolian cadence, and that... I think that's what that's referring to. It just doesn't sound that great to me, but Not a Second Time is still a good song. You Really Gotta Hold On Me is number 9. It's a good cover. It's kind of long, but it is a good Smokey Robinson cover. Number 8 is Devil in Her Heart. This song gets shit on a bit, and I don't really understand why. It's a good cover. Number 7 is Money, That's What I Want. It's a very obvious attempt to replicate the way that Please Please Me closed with Twist and Shout, but Money is not as good as Twist and Shout, but it's still good. Number 6 is Please Mr. Postman. Nothing really to say about it, it's just a cover of a fairly recognizable early 60s song. And the Beatles do it really well. Number 5 is All I've Got to Do. The most interesting thing about this song to me is that in some parts of the song, the melody kind of sounds like the melody of Time of the Season by the Zombies. So that's interesting to me. It's also a good song, but that's not really a surprise. Number 4 is Hold Me Tight. This song is usually called the worst on the album. This and Little Child are usually called the worst songs on the album. But I really like this. The melody's great. There's a lot of energy. The double track thing at the beginning of the chorus where one of them goes, "It feels so right now, hold me tight," and the other one goes, "It feels so right, so hold me tight," is a little jarring, but it's not really a huge deal. Paul's vocals are not as refined as they would become on later albums, or even on the 2 songs above this that are sung by him. But, it is the early Beatles. I don't, expect Paul to, have a vocal performance on par with Yesterday or For No One on With the Beatles. It's basically just them having fun, singing a upbeat song, and I appreciate it for that. Number 3 is Till There Was You. This is a cover of a song by Meredith Willson from the musical The Music Man. Meredith Willson is also the same guy that wrote 76 Trombones and It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. That was kind of surprising to find out. I thought all those 3 songs were written by completely different people, but then knowing that they were written by the same person it was just kind of weird. But again, I mentioned on the Please Please Me ranking that Paul McCartney is really good at like doing the crooning thing, and this is a good example of that. Number 2 is It Won't Be Long. This is one of my personal favorite early Beatles songs. There's a few reasons why. It's the opening song on the album, and it just pulls you in right away with its incredible amount of energy. With John Lennon going, "It won't be long, yeah, 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 yeah," and then like the kind of call and response thing going on in the background where Paul and George reply "yeah" to each "yeah" that John Lennon says. It's kind of like She Loves You in that sense. And another way that it's kind of like She Loves You is that it ends on a very jazzy chord. She Loves You ends with a major 6th chord, and this song ends with a major 7th chord, and major 7th chords are my favorite type of chords, so that's very appreciated in this song. Number 1 is All My Loving. Probably my second favorite early Beatles song. It's just really sweet, really catchy, and I can definitely see why the teenage girls in the day were really liked this song, and why it was the first one they played on Ed Sullivan. So yeah, with the Beatles, it's a good album, but it's not great.